Well, that one was ugly. The Chicago Bulls lose the game. Josh Giddey, Coby White, their pride, hope, a lot was lost in this game to the Minnesota Timberwolves on top of losing by 35 points. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this. What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host, Sarah Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media you happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. I already see y'all complaining. Like, I just want to be clear here. Like, comments like this team is garbage. We lost our two best players. When Coby White and Josh Giddey were in the game, we were staying in there with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Even after Coby went down, we were staying basically neck and neck with the Minnesota Timberwolves. You lose Josh Giddey, who's your offense is built around, and then you start going down. What do you expect? Like, I could tell some of y'all don't really watch the games. Y'all just saw the result, and y'all came in here already bitching from the start of it, because there's no way you watch that game and your only response, your first response is, this team is garbage if you watch this game. This team stayed locked in step with the Minnesota Timberwolves throughout the majority of this game until they lost Josh Giddey and Coby White. What do you expect to happen at that point in time? What do you expect to happen at that? Like, I get it. The Bulls are a very deep team. And I know people are going to say, well, next man up, injuries are excuse. No, the fuck they're not. Coby White and Josh Giddey combined between points generated off assists and points scored per game make up almost half of the Chicago Bulls' total points per game. No team in the league is going to be able to miss half of their overall production and not look like shit. And that's on top of them already not being the best team in the world. Come on, man. Come on, man. Y'all gotta have context in with this mug. Before Josh Giddey and Coby White both went down, well, until they were both out the game, Coby went down. We were down by 4. Like 4 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Come on, man. Y'all gotta stop with the bullshit. Y'all really gotta stop with the bullshit, man. Y'all really gotta stop with the dumb shit. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. Y'all don't actually watch games. Y'all see the result and then want to come and bitch. And the people that actually watch the games be looking at y'all like, are you retarded? That's really how we be looking at y'all. First half, we hooped, but second half, the offensive flow was off and the defense was looking out of place. Bad matchups. Exactly. Drip by 35? Yes. Coby White, hold on. I'm gonna give y'all the numbers so y'all can understand when I say this. What by 35? Yes. This is why I say. And listen, we're a deep team and depth is fine, but I don't think y'all really realize how much Josh Giddey and Coby White do for this team. So let's scoring. Josh Giddey averages 19 points per game. That was before this game was like 19.8. Josh Giddey creates 22 points off assists per game. So that's just Josh Giddey alone. That's 40 points that you are missing being created right there. That's just Josh Giddey. Now, let's look at the Coby White side of things, right? Let's look at Coby White. Coby White is scoring 19 points per game. So again, that's another. So factor that in with the 40 points per game for Josh Giddey. You're at 59 points right there. Off assists, Coby White's creating 12 points off assists per game. That's 70 points. 70 points that you are missing. And let's be clear here. Let's keep the same energy. Do we have a lot of players that create their own shot? How many players on this team create their own shot? Almost 80% of Nikola Vucevic's shots are assisted. Almost 60% of Modest Buzelis' shots are assisted. Almost 60% of Ayo Dosunmu's shots are assisted. So when you're missing two players that create at the level that they do for the other players, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? We always neck and neck, and then stars of this league closes out just like Giannis did last game. It's consistent in the team. No, again, this is another dumbass comment. We were neck and neck until we lost two of our best players. What are you talking about here? This isn't like the Milwaukee Bucks game. We didn't have 50 points out there. Like, come on, man. Y'all are really exposing yourselves for the people who don't actually watch basketball games. That's what this game is doing. It's exposing the people who don't actually sit their ass down and watch what they want to complain about. If you're going to complain about something, you should at least watch the motherfucker. Dude, we were competitive until the injuries happened. Like, damn, that's a positive aspect. Next few weeks, you're going to truly get an evaluation period. Well, not if we're going to miss those guys. Like, Coby White injuring that calf, I would not be surprised if Coby White may sit out the rest of this week. We may not see Coby White until after the calendar flips. We got look into the trainers and nutrition coach who never seen 2 stars going down in the third. So, wait, hold on. That's false. How long have you been watching the Bulls? We literally saw this happen 4 years ago when Lonzo and Zach LaVine and Caruso all went down in the same game. Like, literally. And I was laughing about this during the game. It's like, damn, history just be repeating itself. It just be repeating itself. That's crazy. I think we were eventually get beat down. Edwards a slow starter. Nas went nuclear. However, we're basically the Washington Generals without Giddey and Coby. Exactly. Like we do not have enough players that can create their own offense. Now, Trey Jones is a really good passer. And this is why I say there's a difference between the way that Trey Jones passes and what Josh Giddey does, right? Both really good passers, but in different ways. Josh Giddey creates open looks. Trey Jones can get you the ball, but he's not the same as far as creating open shots for his teammates. He just has never been that. But it is what it is. All right, watching it live, it was bad. It's turnabout modest. He doesn't look like himself. Played so scared. Sad to watch. Also watching Phillips, Terry, and Williams. I'm not surprised they are benched. I mean, hey, it is what it is when it comes down to that one. Jalen Smith should play the 4. I actually talked about that, Pags, a little bit on my daily episode today, as far as I do think right now I doubt the Bulls are going to bench Vooch because they want to try to trade him at the deadline. I don't think they're going to be successful. I'm just saying that is their goal at the trade deadline. But after the trade deadline, when Vooch is just going to expire, I would really seriously consider starting Zach Collins and Jalen Smith. I would really consider that. And then move Modest to the 3. That's just what I would consider. This is why I wanted Modest to be aggressive and actually be a playmaker. I mean, hey, this is what I will say. Billy Donovan talked a little bit at the beginning of the season how, they wanted to work in opportunities for Modest to create and do a little bit more point forward stuff. If Josh Giddey and Coby White are both going to miss some significant time, you're probably going to have to allow him to do that because you just don't have a lot of self-creators. You just don't have it. Stop it, Hayes. If Giddey and Coby were there, they still would have lost by 15. How about you stop it with the snot-nosed ass, bitch-ass Abby that you have and the constant bitching that you do because you don't actually have something to say or any fucking basketball IQ. I'm going off of what we saw. What we saw was the Bulls were down by 4 and stayed in there with those guys in there. You can't say that. We've beaten teams better than the Minnesota Timberwolves with those guys before. Y'all got to stop trying to use something to backdoor your way into bitching. Like, y'all got to stop. Y'all mama raised sons, not bitches. I would really, I swear to God, I hope that my sons ain't out there when they get out in the world and acting like fully grown women, as many as some of y'all grown-ass men do. I really hope that that's not the case. Because, Jesus Christ, y'all really starting to, y'all embarrassing the fruit of the loins, man. Like, I know y'all ancestors looking like, damn, if you just grow a pussy, if you're not going to eat it, just grow one. Like, do some shit like that. This is starting to become an injury it's starting to become. It started off an injury-prone season. It's definitely an injury-prone season. Absolutely. 100%. And this is why you should know that plus-minus isn't the stat to use if you want that. Again, watch basketball. Don't watch the box score if you're not going to be able to add the form of reference to it by looking at what you're talking about. This is a 7 streak losing games again. Hey, let's hope not, bro. Let's hope not. That'd definitely be crazy if that was the case. Hayes, do you think the speed of these games are causing these injuries? I've seen some stuff. I've seen some stuff that points to maybe that being the case. I've also seen some medical reports that actually say that that's not the case. But I mean, when you look at it, the number of here's the thing, right? There's a combination of medical, like we are just a lot more aware of medical things now, right? So like calf strains 15 years ago were looked at as, oh, we're going to tape it up, you're going to go back out there. Now you're seeing that they understand the direct correlation between calf strains and Achilles injuries. So whereas before, it may not even got reported as a calf strain. They may have said, oh, your calf's a little tight. All right, bet. We're going to ice it for a second, wrap it up, you're going to be good. They may not even really think about it like that, right? But now you're seeing, because of like medical staffs being so aware, that all those things are getting reported. So it's difficult to say that there are more injuries, or they're just more injuries actually being reported, right? That's the kind of the difference that you have to ask in there, and that's the thing. Tough seeing your best players go down tonight, my goodness, man. It really is tough. It really put PTSD on me from the time that Alonzo and then went down. So Smith was having a great game until the team fell apart. I mean, yeah, it definitely fell apart for sure. Jones, Ayo, Isaac, Modest, Vooch should be the start 5 due to these injuries. I mean, yeah, you kind of got to go that route, right? You got to go that route. It's unfortunate, but you kind of got to go that route. Hey, you're the one getting. Now, first of all, getting loud is just me being an asshole. You need to learn the difference between emotional and just being an asshole. That's the first thing that you have to realize. And you saying we're just not okay. Well, the way you decided to convey that and talk about that was idiotic. I'm just sorry. It was stupid. If you want to say that, then have something actual basketball to say about it, rather than just the idiot shit that you say hiding behind an Avi. I'm all for hearing the discourse and actual well thought out conversation about basketball. The problem is, you and many others, and right, this is me talking. I'm not even going to be Petty Roosevelt. You and many others come in here, oh, we're just going to be terrible. Oh, the Bulls have been terrible for 9 years. Actually form that with a thought. Like have the ability, even in your criticism, to actually form a thought. Like, for example, I can sit here and say one of the downsides to the Chicago Bulls team, and something that's always been evident, is the fact that we don't have a mid-range game. And so when you eliminate the mid-range game completely, it puts more pressure on your ability to penetrate, and it puts more pressure when you don't have great three-point shooters, what the Bulls don't have, and therefore this offense has to overcome that by trying to do this pace thing, which can be gimmicky. You see how that's a well-thought-out thing? I didn't even have to think about that, because I actually watched this team. I look into the analytics of this team. Coming in here and just blindly bitching ain't really adding nothing to the conversation. Anybody can do that. Anybody can come in and just say, oh, my God, we lost by 31 points. Oh, my God, this team is garbage. That's not a well-thought-out thing. It's a well-thought-out thing. Hey, there's no need to put women down because you want to. First of all, that says more about how you think about women. I said bitches. So if you in your mind, you hear bitches and you think women, that's you associating that with women and putting women down. I said bitches. A lot of bitches is niggas. So I don't know what you're talking about with that. So again, if we're gonna don't get me into getting into my psychology bag. You just talked about what you think about the word bitch, that you associate that with women. That's not on me, brother. Don't put that on me. That's all I'm gonna say with that one. Hayes, they need to stop talking about the Bulls. They're still going to be all right, because I can see them getting in as a 6 seed. Not if they don't get healthy, bro. They're gonna have to get healthy. They're gonna have to definitely get healthy. Fax, Hayes, and the Wolves were shooting middies all game long. And that's something that Billy Donovan really has to – I don't understand. Hearing Billy Donovan say out his own mouth, hey, I don't want them taking mid-range shots. I mean, I'm paraphrasing there. It's just a bad take. Bad take. Way easier to defend if you were passing up open looks in the mid-range. Exactly. Like and it's the fact that the Bulls – I don't need the Bulls to be like – 30% of their shots being in the mid-range. I don't need that to happen, right? But when you basically signify to your team, to opposing teams, I don't want us taking mid-range shots, guess what defenses don't have to worry about? Mid-range shots. That means that now we can say, oh, because we're not going to be worried about the Bulls taking mid-range shots, we can actually ease off of them some be prepared to guard them off the drive because they're not going to stop and pop it in the mid-range. You just make it so much easier to defend yourself. I'm dying over here. Shout out to Forrest, bro. Thank you, Hayes. Really bothers me when people call themselves fans, then bash the team all over social media. Folks don't know the difference between constructive criticism and hate for your own team. Exactly. Don't give up on this team. Remember last year after the All-Star break, they were a different team. Watch. I mean, but that was because they made a major trade, right? So, like, if this team makes moves, then, yeah, they could be different after the All-Star break. But if this roster relatively stays the same, it's reasonable for people to look at it and think things aren't going to really change if you didn't. Like, we were different after the All-Star break because we traded Zach LaVine. That was a big part of why we were different after the All-Star break, a big point of that. Off point, but Huerter has been disappointing this season. It's horrible. He chucks up shots and barely makes them. Oh, Kevin Huerter shooting from three is terrible. Like, and I said this before too, is that people forget Kevin Huerter was coming off his two worst three-point shooting seasons of his career before we traded for him. Now, right after we got him, he got hot from three after we traded for him, but he's really kind of just been back into where it seemed like his career was going before the trade to the Bulls. So, what's up, Hayes? Great job on Locked On all weekend long. Great coverage. I didn't do a single episode of Locked On all weekend. Oh, well, I guess unless you're talking about the Friday night episode. Love how you use analytics as focal points in your basketball debates, but you don't rely on numbers. You watch every team. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't. So here's the thing, right? There's three things, and I think that you got to use all three of these things if you really want to talk about basketball at a high level, right? The eye test is the first thing. Actually watch the games. You'd be surprised how many people don't actually watch the basketball games. So that's the first. Eye test. You have to actually watch the games. Of course, understand, look at the stat sheet. That's I'm not saying don't look at the stat sheet, but then you want to dig into the analytics. And some people will dig into analytics only to reaffirm a thought that they already have. I have a different process about it. I dig into the analytics to try to prove myself wrong. So when I go in and looking at advanced, let's say, for example, I'm like, hey, it seems like Isaac Okoro's had some really good defensive stretches here. I want to go and look and prove myself wrong. I want to go and look at the things and say, maybe he's not having as good of a defensive season as I'm thinking he is. So, because you can find any stat to reaffirm a thought that you have. Try to prove yourself wrong. And then in the journey of trying to prove yourself wrong, you'll be able to paint a full picture. Eye test, regular box score stats, and then use the analytics to try to prove yourself wrong. You may not prove yourself wrong, and then it'll reaffirm your point, right? But that's the way that I try to look at it. That's the way I try to look at it. Hilarious. P. Will's our best midi shooter, which is ridiculous. Hayes, remember when Jim Boylan tried to eliminate the mid-range that ended up biting us? You know what? It's crazy how you're not the first person to bring up some things that overlap with Boylan and with Billy Donovan. Now, Billy Donovan is a way better coach than Jim Boylan. I'm not in any way saying that Billy Donovan is Jim Boylan, but here's the thing. You can be a better coach, but have some of the same mental hurdles. And I really do think Billy Donovan has some of the same mental hurdles that Jim Boylan did in the sense of lineups. Jim Boylan couldn't manage a fucking lineup to save his life. If you go back and look at how many we didn't even have a deep guard team at that point in time. Go and look at how many guard-heavy lineups Jim Boylan ran. Adjustments, Jim Boylan couldn't adjust to save his fucking life. And then, like you just pointed out, the mid-range shot. So it just is there. It's a thing there, bro. It's all bad. Kevin needs to be catch and shoot. He tries to hit these moving threes, which he almost never hits. I am a woman in Australia, so maybe it's a culture thing. Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, I didn't mean that for women. I didn't mean that for women. I was just, when I say bitches, I just mean people who are bitching. I honestly don't mean to compare them to women. That's just not what I'm trying to say there. So I apologize if I did offend you, though. Elias says, we need more talent. The Bulls want to pass off the team as a playoff team, and we're not that. I love this team. My real frustration is the organization, not the team. That's fair, right? That's fair. And, you know, the thing, and I said this on today's episode, is that the thing with AK is that he takes these projects and they never really hit, right? Like, and I'm not saying Noah yet. Noah deserves to not be judged yet, so I'm not judging Noah. But Julian Phillips was a project. He never really worked out. Patrick Williams never really worked out. Now, Modest has put some things together. Modest still has things that he needs to develop, but at least he's finding a way to be more productive than any of those other guys. I don't really judge Julian Phillips too harshly because he was a second-round pick. You know, you try to want to go more projects in the second round, but I think that I really want to see AK take some players with a really high floor, right? Not just, I think that AK looks at the ceiling so much and ignores the floor. So, like, if you're just focused, like a player like Dalen Terry had a super high ceiling because of the raw skill, the age, all of that. But he had a really low floor because he had no refined skill either. I would love to see AK kind of focus more on getting players with really high floors, and then that way you can build a stable roster, right? And then you can start back taking shots at the high ceiling guys. So I don't disagree with you there at all. Fact says we need to start taking more mid-range shots, but this is what sometimes I wish Coby and Io learned from Zach and DeMar, because it's crazy to say because that was kind of their beef. Well, here's the thing, though. Coby's actually, over his career, a really good mid-range shooter. The problem is that Billy Donovan doesn't want us taking him. And then, you know, earlier, the 2 years prior that we had DeMar, he was basically our only, like, they basically cleared out the mid-range so that DeMar can go to work. But Coby, over his career, when he actually does take middies, is a really good mid-range shooter. I would love to see Coby White take more mid-range shots. So, for example, right now, right, I'm going to go, let's go look at, because Coby's been a little bit off shooting-wise this season. So I just want to look prior to this season. So Coby White was a 45% mid-range shooter last season. So that's 2004-25. In 2023-24, he was a 38% mid-range shooter, which isn't great but isn't terrible. That puts him around 46th in the NBA. So, you know, when you look at all the players in the NBA, that's not terribly bad either. So, like, I think that Coby White can be a really good mid-range shooter. I just now have to worry, like, is it Billy Donovan why he doesn't take? Like, just imagine we do trade Coby, and Coby goes to a team with good spacing, and we see Coby actually get to work in the mid-range more. That could really open up his game, especially with him getting to the free throw line more now, right? What's up, Hayes? You think Coby injury sets back any trade at deadline, or does the injury not mean anything? We got to see the severity of it first, bro. I can't really answer that without seeing the severity. I would not be surprised if Coby sits out the rest of this week. I just think the Bulls are going to play it very safe because it's the same. He had another calf injury after his first one, but it was the opposite calf. And so I think he only ended up missing like a game. With this being the same calf that he missed the start of the season for, I think they're going to be very protective over that. I would not be surprised if we don't see him anymore at this one. Bro, this is why I only watch your channel for Bulls info. You keep it real from a true Bulls fan perspective. I mean, listen, I try to always look at things both sides, and I'm not always good at that. I'm a fan too, and there are absolutely times when I get caught up in my own feelings about this team. But the thing that I always try to do through my daily episodes is that even if I have a take on something, I try to always present the opposite side of it, right? I think through that, it helps me balance stuff out. I keep myself honest in that sense, right? Like I said, I don't want to act like I'm always perfect about it because I'm not, but I definitely try to balance it out that way for sure. Be interesting to see what the team's plus minus is with Giddey and Coby and Collins all available. Collins being out is way bigger than people think. Coby and Giddey go without saying. Yeah, I don't disagree with you there at all. What's good, Hayes? Haven't checked in a while. I'm not sure what the Bulls will do at the trade deadline. Felt like Kuminga is in play, but even so, I'm really curious what happens with Coby and Vooch. We shall see. We definitely shall see. AK is stuck on Jokic draft. This is why he loves projects. I mean, here's the thing, though, right? Like, Jokic was such an unknown commodity. I don't even know if we can judge that by projects. Like, it was just that people just didn't really know who Jokic was as a player. Like, he was just unknown. I don't think Jokic, even if you go back and look at it, they're like, oh, my God, he's some huge project. Like, so I don't even know if you can say that. But, I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that it just brings some some concern there. Typically, the taller you are, the deeper you can get on mid-range, which I would look at more like a paint shot, but shorter guys often find more space above the free throw line, which I would deem – did he finish it? True mid-range. If people can make them, he should have the green light. Yeah, I mean, but unfortunately we don't like to take We don't like to take mid-range shots under Billy Donovan. Facts, AK get lost in potential, and there's nothing wrong with that, but maybe even though he didn't actually draft Joker, he probably saw his potential, and well, I think he's always chasing that. I mean, I can understand that giving you some kind of false confidence, like, hell, I found an MVP in the second round, but I think the thing with that still is that you can't. What Jokic was able to do was special, and if AK has fooled himself into thinking he can do that again by just taking these very high potential players, then he's gonna always be doomed because it's not that simple, right? Jokic is special, and I think thinking you could just replicate that it takes away from how special Jokic actually is in finding players like that. Appreciate the always. I never mean to. No, let me not say I never mean to offend people. Usually, when I mean to offend somebody, I'm very direct with it. So if I offend somebody by accident, I always like to apologize for it. Australians are free. Facts. No one gives him a chance, and any other player do some of the things that he do, and no problem. But when he do it, it's who y'all talking about? I missed Australian is free's comment, and I don't think I could find it. Everyone is being harsh on Dalen Terry. No, I don't think people are being harsh on Dalen Terry. Dalen has made mistakes. Dalen is uncontrolled chaos. Sometimes that works really well for you. It does. Like, there are times where Dalen Terry gets into games, and that chaos that he brings, he gets into passing lanes, he gets us extra possessions, he'll attack players, those type of things. But there's no refinement to Dalen Terry's game. And I'm sorry, I don't subscribe to the thought process of if you just play players more, that means they'll play better. I don't subscribe to that because my thought process is, what are you doing in practice? What are you doing or not doing in practice every single day to where you don't stand out, to where somebody doesn't feel like you have to be in the rotation? That's a question that you have there, right? Isaac Okoro came to this team after being traded and worked and became a starter right away. Dalen, that should have, like, if I'm P. Will, Julian Phillips, or Dalen Terry, I'm pissed off at that. I'm going to be showing some over because it's not like Isaac Okoro is some amazing shooter. He's not an amazing finisher around the rim. The only thing Isaac Okoro brings is on-ball defense and consistency because you basically know exactly how Okoro is going to play every single game. Now, there are going to be some games where he scores more, but that's via matchups and things like that. But a player like Dalen Terry, who has the size, has the potential to be a really good on-ball defender, can get out in transition. He's grown as a three-point shooter, but what are you not showing in practice every single day to where the Bulls don't feel like they have to play you? That's just the perspective that I have on it. I don't always like to blame everything on, oh, well, they're just not playing him. That's why. Okay, why what are you doing not to earn those minutes? Why aren't you earning those minutes? I know the team has changed slowly over time, but do you feel like every time Billy fixes a team issue, another issue arises? It's crazy how this team takes one step forward and two steps back consistently. I mean, that goes to roster balance, though, bro. Like, I think that Billy does change some things to overcome some of the Bulls' shortcomings, which in a way can be looked at as good, but you can only overcome so many shortcomings. We don't have rim protection. We've been lacking that for a while. For a long time there, we didn't have the big man rotation to even use consistently. That is gone now because we do have Jalen and Zach and Vooch when they're all healthy. They haven't all been healthy very much this season, but when they're all healthy. And then you're still looking at, like, we want to be this three-point shooting team where we don't really have a team full of good three-point shooters. Josh Giddey's grown as a three-point shooter. That's really good. I was shooting the ball consistently, decently from three, but we don't have that. Trey Jones passes up open threes all the time. Kevin Huerter's shooting absolutely ass cheeks from three. Isaac Okoro so hit or miss from three-point range, whether they're open or not. Kobe's having a slow season from three. So it's like, we make these fundamental changes to how we want to play the game of basketball, but when you have to overcome so many other things, it's difficult. Julian Phillips has the potential, but the thing he needs to work on is his jumper. I think Julian has tons of potential. I really do think Julian Phillips has tons of potential. And I would not be surprised if Julian ends up being one of those guys that goes to a different team. And I'm not saying he's going to turn into a star or anything. Like, look at Derrick Jones Jr. Derrick Jones Jr. didn't turn into a star when he left the Bulls, but he was a key contributor to a team that went to the finals, right? And so I wouldn't be surprised if Julian, Dalen, or P. Will for that matter, I'd be more surprised if it's P. Will than the other two. But, if those guys end up going to another team and start, developing into something. So. This is a project in a way. People forget earlier in Jokic's NBA career, Denver bring him down. Joker to D-League to be developed. Peterson just dropped to bro, I need some punctuation in there, bro. That was a stream of thought. I'm sure you're cooking with it, but the way that my brain's working right now, I'm not blaming you. I'm slow right now. So I'm not that's not me trying to roast you. The way my brain is fried right now, I'm clearly not picking up on something that you're trying to put down with that statement. Like I said, I'm pretty sure you're probably cooking. I'm just slow right now. My brain is cooked. But I mean, Jokic's rookie year did only play 31 games. And then he 70 after that, and then that's when he took off. So, it did take some time for Jokic too, at least in that first season. Hey, Hayes, I hope to see Julian Phillips and Salem Terry to actually be developed on another team. I mean, hey, if that's what happens, that's what happens. Billy said this to Modest about mid-ranges. Take that shit and throw it out in the trash, which is horrible because Modest was defense for mid-range. Exactly. I don't get it. I don't understand that line of thinking at all. So, but all right, y'all. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, man. Make sure you guys are following us at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799 with number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. And like I like to end every episode on, stay safe out there, go Bulls, and always see red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.